Welcome to Rewriting Real Estate, Millionaire Moves and Modern Tactics with your host, Kimberly Falker, a coach, mentor and strategist for agents who are ready to scale smarter. On this show, you'll learn from high-performing agents who are building their empires with innovation, intention and no apologies. Whether you're an experienced agent stuck at a plateau or a rising star ready to fast-track your success, this podcast gives you the real-world tactics, mindset shifts, and lessons learned from those rewriting the rules.
Hi, and welcome back to Rewriting Real Estate. Alyssa Curnutt is my guest today because she is known as the hyper-local queen. She comes out of Spokane, Washington, and she's built a thriving brand and business through original, community-focused content that not only connects, but converts. So let's get started with Alyssa. Hi, Alyssa. I'm so excited that you're here. I've been following you on Instagram. I've been in many circles where you've spoken at events and then also just been in the room. But before we get started on your amazing local journey, I just want to know, because rarely do people jump right into life, into real estate. How did you get started with it? Which is why you're so good at what you do, I think.
Yeah, well, it definitely helps. It kind of gives me a leg up, and we can probably get into it a little bit later.
Yeah.
I tell people it also kind of hindered me quite a bit, but that's the path I thought I wanted to do. I got into it, did it for about 2.5 years, and was like, this is just not the life for me. I didn't, the hours, the pay, the waking up at midnight to go cover a fire, it just wasn't for me. And so got out of TV news and got into like the post-production side of things. And so I was a TV producer for a couple TV shows, like regional shows, and did that for about 4 years. And then ultimately was like, I was kind of sick of having a boss. And I was like, I was like, what can I do? I'm going to start my own business. I want to be a real estate agent, and I want to set my own, like everyone, all real estate agents, I want to set my own hours, make my own schedule, which if you have clients, not ever the case, but that's kind of my path. And kind of where I ultimately thought I was going to go.
So what year did you get licensed?
2017. So I've been an agent for 8.5 years now.
Did you jump right into video and social media, or did you try other paths within real estate first?
So I did start with video because like when you start in real estate, unless you're on a team, like no one really tells you what to do. Like I started as a solo agent, and you're kind of just thrown in there, and some people are like, oh, maybe do some open houses, maybe do some cold calling. And I never did like cold calling, door knocking. It kind of freaked me out. So I was like, what can I do? I'm going to start in video. And not many people in 2017 were doing that. And so I started doing YouTube videos, and it was like 3-minute real estate tips and tricks, real estate jargon, all that kind of stuff where I didn't even really know what I was talking about. So I was just kind of like learning myself and recording myself do it. And I did that for about a year, and it went nowhere. And so I kind of was like, yeah, maybe that's not for me, or maybe it doesn't work. I don't know. So I quit.
Now, meanwhile, were you getting other business or somehow getting business, or were you?
Through Sphere and just referrals. And so just, I was getting by and doing fine and doing, maybe 12-ish deals a year for my first, probably like 5 or 6 years in real estate is kind of what I was doing. And then I went to a local real estate conference that was all about video. And this was in 2021. And maybe 2022.
You made it through the pandemic time.
Yeah, exactly. You run around your head cut off. Yeah, not even doing really much marketing, unfortunately. And so I jumped in, decided I was like, I'm going to try this video thing again because I got a kick in the butt from going to this conference, and I'm going to try it again. And that was the era of people pointing at things on the video, lip syncing, all the reels. So I just started doing that. And I did that for about a year, and no growth, no anything. And I was like, okay, maybe again, this thing's not for me. Maybe I won't do video because it's so much time and effort and energy. And when it's not working or feeling like it's not working, it's so easy to be like, maybe it's
and
not
you keep
for me.
Jumping from one thing to the other. Like, oh, this is trending, and I'm going to do that. And this is trending, I'll try that. And then you're not finding your own voice, I guess,
your thing,
which is hard. It's really hard.
It's so hard. And so it's funny. I can't even remember what it was that got me to do my first local video, because it was around that era where I was like, I think I'm just going to quit. And I was like, and then I heard about some local restaurants that were opening around my house. And for whatever reason, I was like, I'm just going to go do a video about them. At the time, there was really no one doing local content. And so for real estate agents. And so I was like, I'm just going to go record that. And so I did it. It was actually fun digging into finding out the new restaurants. And I remember vividly that I was I edited that night, posted it the next day. And a couple days later, I was going on a walk in my neighborhood, and a neighbor who I rarely talk to stopped me and was like, "Oh, I saw that video that you posted about the new restaurants," and started asking me questions about it. And she was like, "Do you know when it opens? That Mexican one looks really good." And it's just like this light bulb hit. And I was like, that created the exact conversation that I want.
Yeah.
That this person we would normally walk by with the dog, said hi, kept walking. And so then I was like, I'm going to do it again.
And it's
so
kind of
I
fun to
did it
have the
again.
answers. Like if you're going to do a video, I should find out inside scoop on places that you wouldn't have known otherwise. But it's kind of fun to be the answer person or be able to provide that
Yes.
information. Like, oh, well, this is the menu or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Something unique.
Oh, yeah. When you are seen as like the source of information of that inside voice, it's huge. And so anyway, so that's just how the video and the local stuff started. I just started doing it. And like you said, instead of bouncing around, it's like, I'm going to do this again and again and figure out little ways that work well. And then when I started being really consistent with the same thing, which was hyperlocal content, that's when I noticed growth. And I got my first client from Instagram about 2 months after posting that first local video.
So going back to, what year was that then when you discovered that style?
So it was 2022 when I started pointing and doing lip syncing. 2023 was when I did my first local video and got my first client.
Okay. And so when you did your very first, I'm assuming it's kind of evolved a little bit and obviously become production level higher, but that very first one, did you just take like your phone and do this, or what style did you do in the very beginning and kind of tell how that's changed along the way?
Yeah, it's actually quite similar to the style that I did and that I do now. Just almost exactly like you said, it's just less production. I did not have a mic. I did not have, well, maybe my shots were a little slower, and so I've sped them up a little bit. But I knew from the start, and maybe it's just from my training, I knew I wanted to keep things moving. I wanted to keep it moving. And yeah, I would say just maybe the quality and the consistency has improved the most, and just figuring out what works with it. But I've always kept the same style since I first started.
And with that style or with the process, do you involve restaurant or the people at the restaurant or the owners of the restaurant, or is it more, because I see a lot of different styles of local content, especially like on TikTok, where they just show like the meals at the restaurant and such, or do you actually do more man on the street, talk to the owner and learn the nuts and bolts of the restaurant, or both?
Great. Yeah. So maybe a little bit of both. So when I started out, I was call it imposter syndrome or nervous or whatever it is. I just I didn't want to ask ahead of time. I just would show up and like sneakily order stuff myself and then post it and like put my phone away and not want people to see me like shooting video. And then I realized like I'm missing out on a huge opportunity to build relationships and to get better information. And so I started reaching out to the business owners ahead of time, which has evolved into now every single time I send a video DM, because it builds that connection piece. So I reach out and video DM whatever business owner that I'm wanting to feature. And I just tell them, hey, my name's Alyssa. I'm a local real estate agent. I feature local businesses on my Instagram page, and I love your business because X, Y, and Z. So let them know that like I know about it. Here's why I like it. I'd like to feature it on my account. And I was wondering if you'd be open to that. And 9 times out of 10, they are 10 times out of 10, really, they are so excited. These local businesses do not have the budget or the marketing or really the know-how to market themselves. And so it's really helpful for them. They get very excited. So usually during the shoot, either they will show up or they will tell their crew all about it. And so then you get the red carpet rolled out for you, because they want their business to be shown in the best light. So whether it's a restaurant, they're just bringing out dishes or they'll comp the meal, or just because they're so excited and they want to show it. But I think having that conversation ahead of time also helps me get the inside information, because then when I talk to the business owner, I'm like, hey, what do you love about your business? Or I will ask them, like, what are some of the cool, secret, special things on the menu, or what's really unique about it? Because they have this perspective of, they'll have things like I didn't even think about, or I didn't think to ask or order. And then I can also experience it. So I combine those two things of getting their insight and information, but then also experiencing it for myself and taking the viewer along with it. That's my
Right.
whole thing, is like somebody will watch my video and get the feel for whatever it is, the restaurant, the business, and the experience, and then therefore want to experience it themselves.
Right. And especially like to your point of asking or them providing you information or you asking, it's like any of us, like they might have an assumption that the consumer already knows about these specials or about the way that they change their menu up weekly or something like that. But that's information that's really important. It might make somebody stop in there more often. Oh, I didn't know it's a different menu every week, so I will go back and try it again. Those are, I think, important points that a restaurant owner is not supposed to know how to also market. And it's a great opportunity for them to expose more breadth of their business from that end.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, when you go now, or I know that you said then you do with a phone, how do you transition to a different style? Do you have like a videographer or use any sort of tools or things to video now?
So I don't have a videographer, and I have a videographer for, listing videos and stuff like that. But I have found that the videos perform best because I tried it a couple years ago, maybe about a year and a half ago. I tried doing it with a professional videographer, and the videos didn't perform as well. Because I think people on Instagram are just craving that raw, transparent,
real person on the street.
Real. Yeah. And
so are you doing yourself, or are you like they're talking and you're literally holding the video at them, or what's your
So I don't usually record other people when I'm doing it. So it's really just it's mostly just like B-roll shots. So my kind of style is I'll do an intro, B-roll with voiceover, and with an outro. The intro and outro have me on camera. So it's like the same formula every single time. And so when I record though, I literally am doing it selfie mode and record my intro. Then I'll go and I get all the B-roll, I try to get the atmosphere of people dining, the place in general. If we're talking specifically restaurants, and it's like you're getting different foods that I'm going to talk about, maybe the menu, things like that. And then exterior shots as well. And then the outro again is just me selfie style. So I try to keep it very consistent and yeah.
So when you speak about talking to the owners or whatever, they're rolling out the red carpet, that's behind the scenes. It's just like for information. So when you do your voiceover, you actually have correct.
Yeah. So I'm like taking notes, just literally in the notes app on my phone. I'll just jot down, hey, I ask them like, what's the most popular dish, would you say? What do you think like looks the coolest and the best? What do you want people to feel when they walk into your restaurant? Type of things like that. And I just make notes. So when I go write the voiceover, I
look at your notes,
my experience and them, and I just write maybe 5 sentences about it, and that's it. But yeah, I don't use a gimbal or anything.
It's good to know, because I think sometimes we all get in our own way thinking, okay, we've got to have a huge budget. We have to have all these professional tools and tricks and all that. And this is something that anybody could do in their own way with their own personal spin. And you've mentioned a couple times consistency. What's your cadence? Or do you like batch it on one day a week, or do you kind of in the mood, or how do you plan? Because that's where I think a lot of us and ADD realtors get in their own way, because we're like jumping. So how do you kind of figure it out? Because I know maybe you probably started out differently and you now have figured out a better cadence or a better system.
Yes. No. So when I first started, I'd shoot videos all the time. I'd do one on a Monday, and then I'd go on a Thursday and I'd hear about things. And I was getting really burnt out because I was realizing I was just always shooting content. And so it felt like that, at least. And when you're an active real estate agent, it kept pulling me away and taking me away from really like some of the main money-making stuff of follow-up and lead gen and things like that. And so I started batching, and that was a game changer for me. When I was able to, so I do 3 times a month. I'll do 2 shoot days that are like, usually I'll shoot 3 or 4 videos at a time. And then I give myself that third day for something's going to pop up. I'm going to have some grand opening that I'll need to go to on a random time, or something I hear about that I know I need to get on this right now because it's opening next week or whatever. So I would say I end up doing about 3 shoot days a month.
And when you say shoot days, how many hours is that typically? Like how many places and how many hours do you account for?
So I'll call them content days is what I call them. And I will block out the full day because
Okay.
that includes writing the voice, planning, like figuring
Okay.
out my plan, shooting it, writing it. So then I can just get it all done at one time. And then I don't have to think about it for the rest of the week. And so that has helped so much because
I
that leaves
imagine.
4 days a week of just real estate activities. And so I think
Oh,
that's
that's what you're supposed to do.
exactly. And I think because people get bogged down on, oh, I don't have time for it. And it's,
Right.
no, you really do. You don't have to let it take over your life. You just have to plan accordingly. And so
Yeah.
that has been a game changer for my time as well.
Do you do your own editing or do you send that out now?
Now I send it out. I did up until about 6 months ago or
Okay.
so. I did everything myself for about a year and a half. And so don't let, some
Right.
people say, I don't have an editor, I can't do it. It's like, no, you also can. It's a learning curve for sure.
Did
But
you
like once
use
you
when
get
you
it,
did it?
what was that?
What tool did you use when you did your own?
I use an app called Video Shop.
Oh,
But it was fine. It's not like I rant and rave about it. It was easy and intuitive. I know a lot of people love CapCut. I
mhm.
just
You
had
just
something working for me, and so I use it. But I've heard CapCut's maybe a little easier to use. And then, but now I do have my own videographer or editor, which has helped. I just wanted to be able to do more videos and have honestly accountability with it because I pay him a retainer once a month. So I need to get those videos in or I'm
Well, that's
eating
a
the
good
money.
point.
And so making sure that, yeah, I do those. And I don't post a ton. I think a lot of people get bogged down of, oh, I need to post every single day. And you don't. I usually post 2 reels and 1 carousel a week is
Okay.
all I do. So about 3 a week is my cadence. So I end up doing 10 reels a month is what I typically do.
Which is really nice to hear because I know, having spoken to many agents, that I I don't have the tools, I don't have the budget, I don't have an editor, I don't have a videographer, I don't want to do everything every day. And you've just completely taken away all the objections and made it something that anybody can do. A brand new agent could start this. A very seasoned agent could start this. There's enough room for this in any market because even if there's somebody in your own town that's already doing this, you're going to have a different voice. You're going to have a different style. You're going to have a different perspective. And it's like I've said 1,000 times that real estate or social media, it's like dating. You get attracted to what you're attracted to. And so it's,
Yep.
you might have a sense of humor and somebody else might be more logical, or vice
Yeah.
versa. So it's nice to know that there is no excuse not to try this if you are interested in it.
Yeah. I have learned that, and you get around enough people, it's like, you are not for everybody. And that's okay. That's a good thing. Like,
That's good.
everyone's not for me either. And there's other agents, and like you said, different perspectives. You're going to do different features on different things
Yeah.
and different interests that people have. And you're going to attract people who are interested in the same things, really, that you are. But yeah, it really is the biggest hurdle I find for people is the time. And so by batching and pre planning, that helps a lot. And then I think just being on camera is hard for a lot of people.
Mhm.
I've heard that a lot.
But then we get over ourselves
more
because
you
it's
do
like
it,
you want to listen to
more you
agents.
yes.
You care how
And
you
you are
look,
who
you
you
put
are.
yourself together, or you hope you do. But your style is your style. But I don't. Would I like to look like I did when I was 30? Yeah, for sure. But I am what I am right now. So.
Yes, you are what you are. And I think we think about ourselves right too much. I
Yeah.
think I just had a conversation with an agent who was, she said, yeah, but I just don't want people to make fun of me or family or
Yeah.
friends. I said, do you know how much respect people will have for you for showing up? Because it's a very common thing of people feel insecure of just, and I get it. Like I get putting yourself out there can be challenging,
Yep.
but people will respect you.
Yep.
And if they don't, they're not your people and you don't want them as
Right.
clients anyways.
Yeah, I've
The
had
easiest
many
thing that I
agents
found-
say I can't do that because it's too cringy.
Yeah.
But it's cringy if you do it cringy. But if you do it professionally,
Everybody starts cringy.
Yeah.
Everybody starts like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not great at start. Like those, I look back at the videos that I started with, even though it's the ones on YouTube or the ones like pointing and stuff. Like, is that style me? Do I love that? No.
No.
But do I regret it? No, because I got
No.
on camera and I just went out there and did it, and it created conversation and it got me to where I am now. So like, even just putting yourself out there, you have to put yourself out there to try the things to find your thing.
Mhm.
If I hadn't started there, I wouldn't have evolved into to figuring out what is my
Point.
thing.
Good point.
And so you have to start, and it can feel icky at first, but the more you do it, you realize, oh, Nobody's making fun of me. Nobody's saying anything. This isn't as hard as I
Right.
think it is or thought it is, but you just have to do it.
Yeah, yeah. So what percentage of your business now comes from your hyper local content, would you say?
This year, I'm at 70% is
Okay.
from Instagram. And I am on track to have my best year in my 8.5 years in real estate in this crazy market, which I'm so, so grateful for. Ins you get a lot of yeah, I get a lot of cold DMs from people on Instagram. There's a couple ways, like, some people will randomly reach out to me from Instagram, but I also like, you have to do a lot of active reach out as well. Like, some people
Hmm.
think I'm posting, but nobody's saying anything, and we sometimes forget that social media is a
Social.
social platform.
Yeah,
I mean, you need to,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
put out conversation, and so I get the most hand raisers and leads from doing my stories
Hmm.
and polls within my stories, and then having active conversation and deliberately reaching out via DM to people. That is, I think, a key part that a lot of agents don't do, and I think that's why sometimes we don't get business is
It's
we're
true.
expecting people
Yeah.
to come to us.
How do you integrate your real estate business into your Instagram page, or do you still do it? Do you still do
Mm,
just listed? You just sprinkle it
yeah,
in
so
as
I
needed?
do mhm. So the way I Okay, so my reels, I do about 75% are local stuff, 25% are real estate, and I do that via like developments, coming soon or information or my listing videos.
Okay.
So I still sprinkle in. So my goal is to get people to pay attention all the time because people are only moving and caring about real estate really what every 7, 8, 9 years.
Hmm.
And so getting them to buy in and care about what I'm saying all the time, but they see this real estate stuff every once in a while. And people, even when they're not looking at homes, like they love scrolling
Oh,
Zillow,
yeah.
seeing what
Yeah.
homes are going on. So that lends itself very well. And then in the stories, that's where it's split because really it's just me walking through what I'm doing on a
Mhm.
day to day basis. And I'm a real estate agent. So
That's
all
true.
5, 6 days a week, I'm talking about I'm going on this listing appointment, or here's what I'm doing for my clients, or we just had this client event and things like that. So people are seeing that I'm a real estate agent, but naturally I'm still posting local stuff because I'm out with my kids at a restaurant. I'm at some event and I'm sharing about that. So that is like maybe 50% real estate stuff, 50% personal life, local things going on.
It's like you
Really,
have
you
to
need to
give
be the
them
one to
permission on how to, because it's like I've been at many gatherings and I'm not nearly anywhere close to you or many other agents, but I have posted stuff. And I've been at gatherings with peers of mine that I hadn't seen in years. And at one of it was a college reunion thing. And I had like 12 people come up to me and say, I love the stuff you're putting up, but I've never heard a comment. I didn't know they're
Mhm,
following me. So it's like
mhm.
you have to create a way for somebody to feel like it's okay, because it's a funny little thing with social media, especially when you've got such a successful style, where I could see how the consumer might be thinking she doesn't have time for me. She is here and I'm down here. And that's where the disconnect happens, because it's almost like watching a reality TV show where I shouldn't go up and say hi to that person if I see them in the airport, when in fact you could. So I think that it's
It's
learning that way to have them ask or raise their hand or be brave enough, which is a silly thing to say, but feel like you're open for those conversations.
a pro tip that I'll give people that has helped immensely to eliminate that off the top is sending people a welcome message. So when
And
people follow me, now I'm not as good as it as I used to be, but I'd say 50% of the time I will. I have a shortcut saved to my phone that I just do :follow, and it auto populates the same thing every time. And it says, "Hey there, thanks so much for the follow. I look forward to connecting on here. Did you find me via a particular reel about Spokane?" And it does one of two things. It eliminates that barrier of them being like, "Whoa, this is a real person." And it opens the door to let them know that like a conversation in the DMs is welcomed
right.
and I'm the one starting it. And then by posing a question at the end, you're inviting that conversation. And so most of the time people will say, "Oh yeah, found you via that new development that you posted, and 2 times this has resulted in a successful closed client."
Wow.
They have responded and said, "Yeah, here's the reel I found you from. Actually, my husband and I are considering selling our home. Here's the gist." And it's
That's
who
amazing.
knows if I hadn't opened the door for
No.
conversation that they would have felt comfortable or not.
No, I think you're right. That's a
But I think
smart
that's
move.
something that
And
a
that's
lot of
something that
people,
any of
yeah,
us could do and should do, you know?
so easy. And
Yes.
it's like an open house. Someone walks in your door, you're just saying, "Hey, thanks for being here."
And if you get their name in an open house, if you don't respond, then that's on you. If somebody comes into your feed and you don't respond, that's on you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's an easy one that can help
And it's
kind of
authentic,
eliminate that
which
barrier.
people
Yeah,
can then spammy, scammy types. I mean, that's not authentic,
absolutely.
you know. And it also shows that you're putting that information out there, not just to become an influencer. You're actually doing it because you want to influence people in loving Spokane. Like you actually want to share the love that you have for your city. And that's authentic. If there's no response, and then that kind of feels like, oh, you're just doing it for ego's sake, you know? So I think it
Yeah.
reminds
Yeah.
people that you're a real person. You actually care and you actually want to know how you can help them, which
Mhm.
that's as realtors, we have to keep reminding ourselves that we're not here just to make money. We're actually helping people with the biggest decision they make almost outside of marriage. And it's like the biggest, you know, investment they have. And it's a very emotional, you know, especially when you have more than one person in the decision, it's very emotional. So it's like too often, especially new agents, I think, forget that we're here actually to help guide them along a really important process. So for you to show that you care through all your information, I think that's really invaluable.
Thank you. It's been fun. It's been fun to live on my city for sure. So I was
Oh,
born
yeah.
and raised here. And so it's been fun for me, but it's been really cool and rewarding just how much it's meant to people. Like so many people, I I get stalked weekly now. People will say,
Oh,
"Aren't you that real estate agent who posts all the new places in Spokane?" Which
aw,
one I love every time it's the same. "Aren't you that real estate agent?"
yep.
Because that's the piece I don't want to forget. I'm not just an influencer. I am that real estate agent. And but when they say that, they're always like, "Oh my gosh, anytime we want to go on a date night, we'll go to your page to see what kind
Aw,
of places we should
oh,
try." Or so it's cool to have some sort of giving a valuable experience to people to just help
yeah.
them,
And it's really cool
love
because
renewal.
it circles all the way back to marrying what you majored in college. So you get to be that anchor person. Because it's like, obviously, you go to college for a major, you have visions and dreams in your head as a young girl of what it's going to mean. And this way you get to be both.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been a really fun way to, yeah, bridge what I paid a lot of money in college for to make it
It's nice to see it pay off.
worthwhile.
I just love all of this. And I think what I love the most about it is that you've made it attainable for someone to try without it feeling, because sometimes you hear some of these folks' journeys that are at the top of their game, and I love it. But sometimes it gets nerve wracking. It's okay. YouTube, as much as I love it, I know it's a necessary platform to try and get on. It's overwhelming sometimes because you have to do so much content to get one piece out. But
I feel that deeply in my soul. That's my next step. And I feel I just can't do it.
I
It's,
know.
yeah, intimidating.
Do you put your content on other platforms as well, or are you stick in your one lane?
I create my stuff for Instagram and I do repurpose it and put it on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. But that's only because it's like, I'm like, well, why not? I already
Yeah.
created it. Might as well.
What about Facebook? Have you tried that? Putting that in?
I do. It does go to Facebook a little bit, but I don't. Instagram's just what I use,
Yeah.
and so it's
And it's
easier. I
working.
always tell people it is working. It's working, yeah. So it is working, but I do post them, but I wouldn't say it's like a purposeful because I know even TikTok and Instagram, like they're similar, but they have their own styles. Like people are going for it. So I post them on there, and I've gotten a couple like questions on TikTok, but like I don't use TikTok personally, so I couldn't even. I mean,
You don't know
if
how
someone
good
shot
it's
me a
going.
DM on there, it'd be like a week till I respond, anyways. Yeah, yeah.
When you first started doing it and editing yourself and with the creative process, did you find inspiration for that from other people, or did you just come up with it through your own brain and has that kind of evolved along the way? 'Cause sometimes I can
I
send
did.
people's ways too. Like,
Yeah.
oh gosh, I don't have the creative little B-roll popping in, and that can get in people's way, I feel like.
Yeah, I did kinda create it in my head, and I don't so I feel weird. I wish I could say I could attribute it to
No,
somebody
but that's
else, but I
good,
kinda
actually.
just. Yeah, thank you. I knew just from kinda my background that, like, people will want fast moving, and so that's kinda what I have just paid attention to and like tried to keep it. Cause I think a lot of people will do like, oh, you do like a 5-second clip, and people get bored really easily. And so you got to just like keep like my shots are like every 2 seconds. It sometimes like 1 second just to keep it moving. And so the structure of my content, it's very purposeful too. So like I want to be the brand. So I started off with me on camera purposefully with a hook. So I always share either what's really unique about whatever I'm about to talk about, or I give them a teaser of like just what's coming. So it's like
Just to wait for this dessert or something like that.
yeah, it's like, you will not believe this dessert comes out on fire. And then people are like, whoa, I'm gonna stick around. So guess what my very last shot is to get them to watch is that dessert on fire. And so it's very purposeful of like either something unique about it or who am I talking to? So it's like, hey, moms in Spokane, you're gonna want to this new restaurant that the kids are gonna love. Because then it's talking to my exact ideal client and audience member. So those are my 2 hooks. Get me on camera so that I can be the brand, essentially. And then it's voiceover with those fast shots. And then end with the outro, me on camera again, always a call to action. So mine is always share this with a friend who, like, if you watch my videos, every single one ends the exact same. Share this with a friend who X, Y, or Z.
Right.
And I'm getting them to share it with, again, my ideal audience member. So
with you, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
and
a lot of
oftentimes
people
that is our ideal audience, is who we are in the moment.
yes, yeah. And that's when okay, let me finish this thought and then I'm going to get back to that. So I think that's really important to talk about. So I end with share this with a friend or share this with a fellow mom in Spokane who will want to know this new place. But that's my structure and how I craft it. But every single one, 'cause people love consistency there too. They want to know what they can expect from your videos. And so, yes, you need to freshen them up every once in a while. But like for the most part, 90% of the time, that's my structure. So I want to go back real quick to the audience thing, because I think that is some people, when they say, why aren't my videos working? It's usually because you're not talking to somebody specific. I got really specific in who I was talking to when I thought about what do I enjoy making videos about and who do I want my ideal audience member to be? And you're exactly right. For me, it was I'm a mom with 2 young girls. And so it's fun for me. And
you're looking for places for your life.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's easy for me. I see that kind of stuff everywhere.
You wouldn't go find a shuffleboard court locally.
Yeah. So can't, like, who am I going to relate to? It's like other moms. Yeah. And so my ideal, every time I'm creating content, it's for women with children who are between the ages of 2 and 14 who live in North Spokane. Mm-hmm. So it's a very specific location because that's where I live. And so that's where 75% of my content is specifically in North Spokane. What is a mom going to care about? And every single time, if my content does not fit that person, I don't shoot it. Which makes it easier too. When you're talking about a whole city, it can get overwhelming. I don't know what to talk about. So it's like run it through the filter of, would that person, that ideal person that you're trying to speak to, care about this? And if they don't, you don't shoot it. But run it through that every single time. And
I think that's important for anyone on any social media platform. Is we're not talking to everyone. Like one of the courses or coaches I had for a little bit, she got it down to, she had a name for that person, and she would start off saying, "Hi, Alyssa," and then cut that out and then start talking, because it like brought her, is that kind of cool? It's "Hi, Alyssa." Yeah. And then she would delete that part, but then start talking, because then she'd have a vision of talking to that person as she was talking.
I love that.
I thought that was really brilliant. Good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So one more question before we wrap up, and it has to do with the voiceover. When you edit, do you time it, or I've always been confused, and I'm sure other people are as well. Like when you do voiceover, and let's say the footage is 2 minutes, do you pop while it's like, how do you structure that so that you're not too long, too short? I was just curious about that.
So for time, I always say I try to keep my reels at 45 seconds. That's my goal. I never go above a minute. Okay. I found that the viewership decreases dramatically if I go above a minute. So I'm always between 45 seconds to a minute. And again, it depends on your editing platform. So when I was editing it myself, my app would require me, so I'd lay out the footage and then do a voiceover on top of that. now that I have an editor, I just record a voice memo. So I
And
like
then they
write
work
it
it out.
and send it, and then they put the footage to my voiceover.
And I'm
So it
assuming,
really
like, for
depends.
instance, those restaurants that had like really cool features or specials, you might put that in the captions versus would you add details that you couldn't fit in the timing, or
Oh,
you know what I
yes.
mean?
Yeah. So the captions do have a lot of like extra details. It's very important to be specific in the voiceover. Like I will say, I had this, I don't know, strawberry dessert. Here's what it had this and this and this on it, rather than being like, they have, general, like people
Yeah.
want specific. So I want them to
Right,
like
right.
feel like they tried that strawberry dessert or whatever it was. And so I am specific, but usually there's a ton of information I can't include. So I will put that in the
Right. Okay, that helps because I could see like I had the strawberry dessert, but check out the captions for all the other varieties they have or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Or not even say that, but that could just be in the captions.
Yeah, I would usually I made that mistake in the past of trying to, when I first started, include so much information because I felt like, there's so much to share, but people, it's overwhelming. So they're only paying attention to a couple things anyway. So give them like the best parts and then put the rest, if they're curious, they can read it in the caption.
So if an agent were to start this and they're not getting much traction, like what you started with your other, the poem and the dancing, but what advice would you give them? Just keep it up or hone in on
I
your audience, or I don't know.
All of the above. I think people quit way too early. I
Okay.
think that they're feeling that they're not getting traction and they give up. And that's what I almost did. I did it for almost a year and I was like, man, this isn't working. But it's just because I wasn't finding my thing. I would say give it a solid 6 months of posting, but posting consistently, because I made that mistake of being like, I am being consistent. But then when I went back and looked, I'd post nothing for a week.
Yeah.
I'd post 3 reels and then one. I was all over the place. But like, make a promise to yourself, do 6 months, 2 to 3 reels and if it's still not working at the end of that 6 months, then tweak something. I think
Right. Because then you have
focus on
enough
who are you
data to
talking
look
to.
at. I know the Alex
Yes.
Hormozy method of the accordion, go all in on a very narrow thing for a while and then look at the data and no, go wide first, all in on that. And then after enough posting, then you have data and you can see what's working, what's not.
It's working.
And then
Yeah.
focus on that before you keep on trying everything. But I love it. I love that. Again, I go back to, I love the fact that it feels attainable because all of us live in an area that if we actually dove into it, we would love it even more. And, like I live in Tampa Bay, which is a tourism area. And so like I grew up here, I lived away from here for many years, but being back here, it's like I could talk all day long about all the great places that are here. But I actually like that you said speak to an audience because I'm not going to be going out and playing in the playgrounds that are new and different because I don't have little children anymore. So I would be finding, something that is Michelin star restaurants or something, so it's just kind of a different phase of life, which I love because also it's good research on where to take your husband for a date too.
Yeah. And it's not a lot of people think if I'm talking to someone specific, then I'm ignoring the other people. And so, no, when I look at my Instagram analytics, yes, most of I think my followers like 70% women, 30% men, and most are in like the mom demographic. However, I have it all over the place. And sometimes I'll get something like if a video says, "Hey moms, you're gonna care," and dad will be like, "What about dads?" I'm like, yeah, of course everyone's welcome. I still get followers from all walks of
Yeah.
life and ages and genders, but when you're talking to somebody specific, it's going to grow that specific amount. And it's easier for you too. It makes your job easier of what
that makes
videos you're
sense.
creating.
Plus you enjoy it
Yeah,
because it's part of who you are.
Yes.
I mean, TV shows do that too. You look at like, Sex and the City, they're not for everyone. They're on, they're on playing for one audience and then the rest come along. And I think it's, any sort of commercial marketing or anything. It's like you're selling something, which you're selling Spokane to that audience. And then along the ride comes everybody else.
Exactly.
Alyssa, I love this so much. And I do like to end with one question. If you had to leave Spokane and move to a city you've never been to, you don't have any friends, any sphere, and there is no Instagram, Now, I'm always saying it because I would assume that you would start this over again wherever you moved. So if that wasn't an option, what other thing might you try to get business as quickly as possible?
Can I pick YouTube? Can I do YouTube?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That's what I would do. I would say,
would you do local content on YouTube, or would you do it a different method? Like the why move to, the bigger, longer?
I would do that style.
Okay.
Yep. Why? Yeah. Pros and cons of living in Spokane, that kind of stuff. The style that I do on Instagram and like the new coming soon stuff, I've heard it doesn't translate well on YouTube. And so I think that's why it's so intimidating for me to start YouTube, is it's going to be this whole new thing. And but that's what I would do. You go all in on YouTube. The leads you get there are just so much more. They're so strong. They've been looking for a long time. They've been watching you. Yeah, I think YouTube's
I have friends that are on there, and they're like, literally, people put it on their big TV in the living room and binge watch it,
Yep. Yeah, I know a lot of agents who are very successful from YouTube, and that's what I would do.
That's great. I love that. Well, gosh, Alyssa, you've been so enjoyable to talk to. I haven't been in a listening presentation in so long, and I don't love that long-term competition of, well, so-and-so coming after you. It's just nice to have people already know you and say, hey, we're moving in a few weeks. Give us
the leads coming in are huge, but that is the biggest
nice.
Barriers. When people come in, they know me. I went on a listing appointment 2 weeks ago, and this lady, I walked in, now obviously never met her at all. I was like, hi, I'm Alyssa. She goes, I need to give you a hug because I feel like I know you. I've been following you for a year. And this seller gave me a huge hug because she felt like she knew, which I went back on DMs, like, did she ever? She had never messaged me. We had never talked previously, but because of my stories and my reels, she felt like she knew me. And that was like a huge win.
Think about some of the people that we maybe watch or are aware of, that if we were in the same room with them, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I already know you. And it's nice. Yeah. I've got a lot of realtor friends that I've never met in person, like you, that if I saw you at an event, I'm like, oh my gosh, hey, Alyssa. Even if we hadn't had this podcast together, it's just, I've had so many people that you interact with online that once you see them, it's like you've known them forever, and it's nice. It's a nice way to get to know people, really.
Yep. It's a great way when it's a potential client too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Rewriting Real Estate. If today's episode challenged your thinking or gave you a strategy worth trying, share it. The right move at the right time can change everything. Subscribe and listen in next week for more insight, more momentum, and more ways to grow your business your way.